Good morning. If you would, please find your seat, prepare yourself for service, and silence any devices that might be disrupting during the service. Put it on silent mode, and we'll begin in a moment, allowing folks to find their seats. When it becomes that quiet, it means go ahead and start, Mark. Good morning, my name is Mark Drews, and I'm honored to serve to bring announcements and welcome all of you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbia. Many of you probably saw Jessica's name on the list to bring welcome, but a dear friend of hers tested positive for COVID, and though she is negative, out of an abundance of caution, she's chosen to go ahead and be with us by way of Zoom. So I want to welcome all of you who are on Zoom or a part of the YouTube service, and we hope to have a chance to see you here in the sanctuary soon. But this does underscore the importance that we all continue to take precautions, consider social distancing. The mask is optional. However, we do ask that during song and when you're singing to please wear your mask. I want to go ahead and share that the flowers on the stage are thanks to Carita Barr, who shared them in honor and appreciation of the good work of the Partner Church Committee, but also to our partner church in Romania. For those of you who are new to us, our Reverend Stephen Robinson serves as our minister, and when he is not here, a lot like this service today, that is, we have wonderful folks who come inspire and engage us in some thought-provoking services. The service today, as you know, is been coordinated by a wonderful group of folks that we know as a Partner Church Committee, who've done a fabulous job working closely with David to go ahead and make sure that we have an opportunity to hear from Reverend Ysolt Solymosi. Other services later this month include next week's service that will be dedicated to Pride Month, and following service will be a Father's Day service that Reverend Robinson has for us, and the last service of the month will be a focus on leadership. And you would know all this if you take a look at our website, you read it in our order of service, and you check it out in our weekly bulletins that are sent to you on each Thursday. And now that we're all centered and you've been caught up with what you might see on the website, we're going to go ahead and sit back and have an opportunity to hear from Anna. Anna has a short announcement, and then if you would, please feel free to sit back and in reverence enjoy the music.
It's with joy this morning that I share a special announcement related to music here at our UUCC. After many years of service, this will be the last Sunday that our piano will be played. Moving in tomorrow, we have a beautiful Steinway M Baby Grand that will be our new piano. Now, I hope you all can join me in expressing your joy and gratitude to Joseph Eisenreich. This is a donation of his personal piano. So from him and his husband Drew and his beautiful daughters Miriam and Colette, we have sorrow that they'll be leaving us and moving away, but I can say with terms somewhat grandiose yet sincere that it's going to mean so much for the echo of their presence to remain in this beautiful instrument. So this morning, with gratitude for the years of service and the many hands that have played this piano, I caringly and lovingly play it one last time.
Thank you, Anna. And if you would, please stand if you're willing and able as we share the congregational covenant that is found in your order of service. Love is a doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. And again, welcome. My name is Mark Drews, and I am honored to serve as your service leader today. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We are a covenantal religion, which means we don't necessarily have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, compassion, dignity, and equity. As UUs, we side with love, embracing all people, regardless to their age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or their religious background. We especially welcome families. We have a nursery, and we want to make this a very inclusive environment. And in such, we are a welcoming community, which means that we embrace all people, including LGBTQ individuals. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so we know one another better. Board members wear green name tags, and if they would, this time, please stand so folks can recognize you and know that you are always willing to share and hear from members and friends. This time, we'd like to recognize any visitors who are with us today. If you would, please, when I come around, stand, share your name, and where you're from. All right, might as well. Go ahead. Tom, welcome.
Thank you. Tom DeMott, recently moved here to Columbia from a lot of places, 2.5 years on the road in our mobile home, so glad to be here. Thank you.
And I'm Anita Merton. Did the same traveling, lived in the same homes.
Tom's travel buddy. Again, welcome.
I'm Beverly Bruck, and I've just returned to Columbia.
Welcome, Beverly. Glad to have you back. Excuse me. Thank you. How's it going, girl? Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Hello, I'm Kin. I'm from Burma, Myanmar. I live in this neighborhood for over 5 years, but this is my first time, and I really appreciate I'm welcome.
Well, Ken, we're very happy to have you. Welcome. Hi, good morning.
Hi, I'm Rowena Nyland, and I'm a Presbyterian and live just around the corner on Monroe Street. So I'm very glad to be here with you all today.
Welcome, Rowena. Happy to have you. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Alma.
Hi, I'm Alma Engel. We moved here a year ago from Pennsylvania. We also have a camper, and that's what our plans are eventually. So we're looking forward to getting to know everybody here.
I'm Melissa Engel. I've been here for 20 years, but first time out.
And welcome. Appreciate you being with us. Soon we'll have an opportunity to go ahead and use this time to greet each other, but until situation and our COVID czar gives us a thumbs up, we'll just go ahead and give gentle and friendly nods to one another at this time. And again, even though Don Cooper did an exemplary job making sure visitors, there are visitor cards, please go ahead and complete them and put them in the basket as it's passed around, because we really would like to go ahead and continue our conversations with you. Today's chalice lighter is very special to all of us. For 48 years, she's graced this sanctuary with her flowers, her love, and her passion for this congregation. This time, Carita, would you please in the words of the fellow on Price is Right, come on down. Karita has a few words to share before she lights the chalice.
If you're my friend, you know I usually don't have few words. I was so inspired by Ysolt Solymosi because he is living our religion more than anybody in this country. It seems like he gives up everything for his religion. Remember, like the old saints and the old builders of this religion. And it's so easy to think that this is an easy religion because you can come and go and you don't have to be feeling guilty and all that stuff. And it's hard for selfish people like me to keep it up, but this I couldn't go against. So Ysolt is one of those heroes that we would write about if we would write stories and history about our religion. He is unbelievable. He gives up everything and has a full commitment to life and this religion. And he is a hero. Thanks.
You gotta light the chalice. And now we can clap. For spirit of light and life, come unto us all. This time we're going to transition to special music, and during this service there will be some videos that will be shown during the day. For instance, at the end when we have our postlude, there is a very special video that has been sent from Romania for us to share. So please look forward to the transitions that we'll be having during this service as we go from live to on screen.
This morning's special music was shared by Ysolt. It's a recording of a student currently living at the Janos Sigismund College with her family. The singer is Maria Skalska, and she was born in Odessa. This is the Ukrainian song, I'll Draw the Stars for You.
І в мене на хтось складу, і куточком підпишу.
This time, I'd like to invite Yolanda to the microphone and ask any children that are with us to please come down for a story for all ages.
It has to be with that. Okay. Can you put the microphone on this side?
Do you want to sit on the side?
Yeah. I can stand, it's okay. Okay. Hello, hola. Buenos dias. Good morning. Welcome. I'm going to read this little book that's called Whoever You Are. Have you seen this before? Every day, all over the world, children are laughing and crying, playing and learning, eating and sleeping. They may not look the same. They may not speak the same language. Their lives may be quite different, but inside, they're just like you. Little one, whoever you are, wherever you are, there are little ones just like you all over the world. Their skin may be different from yours, and their homes may be different from yours. Their schools might be different from yours. These children have different kinds of things to write on. And their lands may be different from yours. Their lives may be different from yours. And their words may be very different from yours. You just heard a song. The words are very different from ours. But did you like the song? You felt like it was, you could understand it even if you didn't understand all the words, did you? But inside, their hearts are just like yours. Whoever they are, wherever they are, all over the world. Their smiles are like yours. And they laugh just like you. Their hurts are like yours. And they cry like you too. Wherever they are, whoever they are, all over the world. Little ones, when you're older and when you're grown, you may be different. And they may be different wherever you are, wherever they are in this big wide world. But remember this, joys are the same, and love is the same. Pain is the same, and blood is the same. Smiles are the same, and hearts are just the same. Wherever they are, wherever you are, wherever we are, all over the world.
Thank you, children. You go ahead and return to your seats.
I don't know where they are my glasses, but I think I can see. am one who had to leave my homeland when circumstances became barely survivable there. Since then, I have observed that anyone, anywhere, anytime, for any of a myriad causes, can become displaced and even end up at the mercy of strangers to be in life once again. From the perspective of a refugee or anyone forced into exile, I have chosen this poem by poet Warsan Shire. She's a 33-year-old British citizen born in Kenya of Somali parents who's currently residing in Los Angeles. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. Your neighbors running faster than you. Breath bloody in their throats. The boy you went to school with is holding a gun bigger than his body. You only leave home when home won't let you stay. No one leaves home unless home chases you. Fire under feet, hot blood in your belly. It's not something you ever thought of doing until the blade burns threats into your neck. And even then, you carried the anthem under your breath, tearing up your passport in airport toilets, sobbing at each mouthful of paper made it clear that you wouldn't be going back. You have to understand that no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. No one burns their palms under trains beneath carriages. No one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck feeding on newspaper unless the miles traveled means something more than just a journey. No one crawls under fences. No one wants to be beaten, pitied. No one chooses refugee camps or strip searches where your body is left aching, or prison, because prison might be safer than a city of fire, and one prison guard in the night is better than a truckload of men who look like your father. No one could take it. No one could stomach it. No skin would be tough enough. The shouts, "Go home, blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers, sucking our country dry with your hands out. Messed up their country, now they want to mess ours up." How do the words, the dirty looks, roll off your back? Maybe because the blow is softer than a limb torn off your body. Or the words are more tender than 14 men between your legs. Or the insults are easier to swallow than rubble, than bones, than your child's body in pieces. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of the gun. And no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore, unless home told you to quicken your legs, leave your clothes behind, crawl through the desert, wade through the rivers, drown, save, be hungry, beg. Forget pride. Your survival is more important. No one leaves home until home is a sweaty voice in your ear saying, "Leave! Run away from me now!" I don't know what I've become, but I know that anywhere is safer than home.
Thank you, Yolanda. Come to a segment of our service we refer to as Candles Community, where members and friends can pick up a candle, come in and share a joy and concern. For those of you who are on Zoom or visiting by way of YouTube, if you have a special joy or concern you'd like to share, please email to Andrea by noon on Friday, and we'll make sure we include it in the service. At this time, I invite anyone who would like to share their joy or concern at this time by coming forward.
Hi, I'm Bethany, and this is Fritz. Fritz is helping me light the candle today because we wanted to say a big thank you for so many people from the UU showing up yesterday to the protest. There will be another one this Saturday coming up. The next one will be sponsored by the March for Our Lives, and that's why Fritz is here, because it's sponsored by young adults. I also want to thank so many people for reaching out to me and wanting to do more. Keep reaching out to me if you'd like to know who to write to, what to say, what number, what text, all that. So thank you to so many of you for showing up.
Thank you, Bethany. And as she shared last week, just remember 803-873-7455. Give Bethany a call, and she'll be willing to go ahead and let you know exactly how you can provide support to him. Again, this being Wear Orange in commemoration of movement to go ahead and bring him more attention, as we call it, National Gun Violence Weekend. Again, that's 803-873-7455. And Lee, if you would kindly come and light your chalice.
You're a wonderful agent, Mark. I'm lighting this candle this morning of gratitude. For many constituents of Reverend Ysolt, Solymosi. He makes a difference in people's lives, starting with the UUCC when he's here, or when groups of pilgrims are touring with him in his country. And today, he is with our partner church in Besterce as they celebrate Pentecost. He ministers to their spirits, and he is a pastor for their lives. The third category of constituents I think to mention are his students. In the classroom, he inspires, and out of the classroom, he mentors. They love him. And of course, we're here today to hear more about his most recent constituents who feel gratitude, and that is the Ukrainian refugees who have made the sacrifice so movingly described by Yolanda. So, Ysolt, we feel so grateful for the difference that you make in so many ways.
Thank you, Lee.
Hi, this is also somewhat a candle of gratitude. Today is Shavuot in the Jewish tradition when they celebrate the reception of the Torah. About a month ago was Ramadan when Muslims celebrated the reception of the Quran. In about a month, we're going to have Dharma Day, which Buddhism teaches is the day that the Buddha gave his first teaching. And 2 days ago was the last day of school in Richland 1. And so I think that it's a good time, especially given current events, for us to hold some extra gratitude for teachers and their teachings and their students.
Hi, I'm Chuck Ashley. Welcome to the first Sunday of Pride Month. And to all of my LGBTQ brothers and sisters, friends, relatives, I say to each and every one of you, remember that pride is the opposite of shame.
This time we would light this final candle as we think of those many joys and concerns that are too deep to share at this time. And let us join with one another in a time of silent meditation as we reflect on these joys and concerns. Thank you. As many of you know, each month we select a nonprofit organization in which half of our cash collection goes to a particular organization. This month's organization is the Good Samaritan Clinic, and we have with us Shannon Madden, who will share a little bit about the organization and its good work. Shannon, if you please take the mic.
First of all, I've got our annual report, which just has a lot of information about what we do right here. Not enough for everyone, but all this is also on our website, and you can also download this report there. So feel free to do that. I know you all are as happy as Good Samaritan Clinic is to have the COVID czar. I love that title. Being a place that, takes care of people who are ill. It's been great to have Dr. Perez, keeping us on the right path and protecting everybody, volunteers as well as our patients. So I understand I only have 3 minutes, so I think I probably better jump right in. I do, first of all, want to say how much I too was moved by Yolanda's story and what a great lead-in also for the type of work that we do with Hispanic immigrants. So in early 2000, around there, local Latino leaders began expressing the need for an easily accessible community clinic with services provided in the Latino population's language and culture. There's people over here, sorry about that. They had observed that many Latinos were not getting regular and preventative health care service for many reasons. And these reasons are important, so I'm going to list them because I want you to realize how much we take for granted these things and these items. And when people come as immigrants, or even, if they're coming, for a short-term job assignment or something like that, it's scary. It's just can be very unnerving. So, first of all, they lack of health insurance, including the inability to access Medicaid, language barriers, number 3, an acute sense of fear due to anti-immigration laws and sentiments. And number 4, isolation from social institutions and networks that would normally provide a safety net. And number 5, limited understanding of the complicated U.S. healthcare system. And I know even for us that sometimes it is very complicated and difficult to understand. So, in an answer to the growing needs of the Latino population, in 2001, Good Samaritan Clinic was organized to fill the gaps in the services provided to this population in the Columbia area. The original site was in Northeast Columbia on Old Percival Road, and shortly thereafter, a second site was added in West Columbia on Leaphart Street. Within the last 8 years, 3 other sites have been added, one in Chapin, Lexington, and Edisto Island. Every organization needs an island location, right? Our services are provided in the late afternoon, evening hours in order to better accommodate our volunteer providers, but even more importantly, to accommodate our working patients who would otherwise have to take time off of work, and that means lost wages. So our organization focuses on evaluating and treating chronic medical conditions like hypertension and diabetes, as well as acute conditions as well, such as headaches, back pain, stomach issues, respiratory infections. So we also provide specialty care. And for specialty providers, we schedule patients on an evening when they are available to volunteer. We have a solid referral system in which we can refer our patients for more complicated conditions that we maybe can't treat at our clinics. And within these systems, they're able to provide free care for our patients. As the majority of our patients are Spanish speakers, like around 80% or more, we have interpreters available on site at all opening hours, and we also provide electronic medical record scribes for each patient encounter. So these are just some things that are, important to know if you're possibly a provider who'd be interested in volunteering, or maybe you know someone, or maybe you would like to ask your own provider to give it some thought. We also carry malpractice insurance. Make sure that you know that. So helping and healing and providing hope, that is what we are about. And our ability to provide free, high-quality health care to low-income, uninsured adults depends so much on the generosity of foundations, individual donors, local churches, community groups, and finally, our very amazing volunteers. Helen Keller has been quoted as saying, "Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much." Thank you all. Thanks for letting me be here. And don't forget, these are up here if anyone likes some more information. And I will stay around afterwards too if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Shan. Appreciate it. And again, if writing a check, please include the words "share the plate" in the memo line. And friends who are visiting by way of Zoom or YouTube, please know that you too can contribute by visiting uucolumbia.org. This time, would the ushers please come forward for today's offering?
For today's offertory musical selection, I'm very pleased to be joined by Dee Dee Herson on cello. Dee Dee and Tony moved to our area from Austin about 8 months ago, and she shared with me that they visited 5 churches in the area before finding us. And we're so grateful that they chose to become part of our community. Dee Dee's been playing cello since 6th grade. She's been involved in many community orchestra groups, and here in our area is part of the Palmetto Orchestra and the Lake Murray Symphony. This morning we're going to be playing Prayer for Ukraine.
Thank you, Anna and Dee Dee. Thank you, Tom. And thank you all for your generous gifts. It demonstrates what a loving and supportive community we truly are. This time, I'd like to invite Jean Capalbo up to go ahead and bring welcome to our guest speaker.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jean Capalbo, a member of the Partner Church Committee, and I've got the honor and the joy of being the one to introduce Ysolt. A lot has been said about him already, but you're going to hear more. He is a busy guy because his life is his work. Or his work is his life. He's a teacher and a vice principal at Janos Zygmunt Unitarius Collegium in Cluj. And there he has multiple duties and he initiates a lot of activities. And in addition to that, he's a minister of two congregations in Romania, one of which is our partner church in Berstici. It's Bistrada in Romanian and Besterci in Hungarian. Every town has the two names, by the way, on their signposts. Also, to drive to Besterci, it's a 2.5-hour commute. And we help him with all his efforts with the Unitarian group there. For the past few months, due to the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, he's also been engaged in helping coordinate help for newly arrived Ukrainian refugees. He was born, grew up, and lives in Kosovar, which is the Hungarian name for Cluj in Romania. It's the second most populous city in Romania and the unofficial capital of the province of Transylvania. And it has a population about the same as Colombia. Cluj is one of 7 walled citadels, also once populated by Germans, the Saxons, later by Hungarians, now Romanians, and Gypsies, which are the Roma. It's a rich, history-rich region where Ysolt's Hungarian family has deep roots and where Unitarianism began. His credentials go way back. He was educated at the same school where he is now the vice principal. He holds a first degree in teaching, a degree equivalent to a PhD in education here, and he also is a graduate of Star King Unitarian, our UU Seminary in Berkeley. One of Ysolt's favorite things to do is explore places in Romania and beyond. And he takes groups of students on grand bicycle tours every summer, as well as other visits abroad in an educational effort to expand the students' worldview and promote connections among people from other nationalities, ethnicities, and religions. In 2016 and in 2018, Ysolt, he took a bunch of us, UUs here, on a pilgrimage through Transylvania. Beautiful, beautiful country. And we met with, and it was a moving, lovely visit with our partner church congregation in Besterci. They're genuinely good people. They welcomed us with friendship. They've lived through such horrible times with the Soviet era, and then they survived Ceausescu. And they are kind, and they're true to their principles of respecting others. Ysolt has boundless enthusiasm for knowledge, teaching, and traveling, but those who know us can attest to his outstanding qualities of compassion, kindness, and patience. And Karita is right. He's a hero to so many people. Our partner church committee has been more than proud to support Ysolt and his work with the partner church congregation there. Financially, we do fundraising, but we also support them with our loving friendships. And lest I forget, I want us to express great gratitude to the Mingies, Julian and Lee Mingy, who forged this relationship over, 32 years ago, and has helped maintain it through all these years. And this is why we're going to hear from this wonderful man right now.
Welcome. As a Unitarian minister of your partner church in Beszterce, Romania, I must share with you that we, Unitarians in Transylvania, are part of the old Christian tradition. Many of our church buildings were built in the 13th or 14th century. We, the ministers, wear a robe. We read from the Bible a quote and preach about that passage, and we sing from old hymnal books. And yes, we pray to the one and only God, as David Francis, founder of Unitarianism, referred to him. Compared to your tradition and the UU liturgy, we look very traditional. But compared to the historic and fundamentalist Christians in Eastern Europe, based on our approach to the Christian teachings, we are considered extremely liberal. I think it is fun in a way to look old-fashioned and preach about modern ideas. Maybe this was the key for our survival and that we still exist. We don't need to think alike to love alike, said the same David Francis. And here is how I got to this, because yes, in my sermon today, I will use a very relevant story from the Bible. I'm sure we all know the parable of the Good Samaritan, the traveler who got beaten up and left half dead alongside the road. First a Jewish priest and then a Levite come by, but both avoid the injured man. Finally, the despised Samaritan is the one who, when he saw him, he had compassion on him. He went to him, bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, set him on his own beast and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And if this was not enough, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host and said unto him, "Take care of him, and whatsoever you spend on him, when I come again, I will repay it." Why is this so relevant? As you know, Romania borders Ukraine. In early February, I was hopeful that a real war cannot happen in the 21st century, an era where dialogue and peaceful negotiations should be the base. I was so wrong again. The war broke up instantly, and we woke up like in a National Geographic documentary where tanks, bombed buildings, and dying people didn't look at all different than in the Second World War documentaries on television. But the only difference was that these people did not belong to the past. They were suffering only a few hundred miles from us. And here comes the parable of the Good Samaritan in a 2022 version. As the injured man is left alone, dying, by the priest and the Levite, first of all, it came to my mind how the brave Europe turned its back a few years ago to all migrants who left Syria and that area after being bombed by a well-known coalition. Yes, because they looked different from us. They also had a different religion. Yes, they were potential terrorists. So instead of helping, we built walls, stopped them with force, while the tragedy was so imminent that at one point Turkish, Greek, and Italian coast guards started to pick up every single morning bodies of young children and their parents whose improvised boats sank while they were trying to reach a European coast. In parentheses, when I opened this subject to church officials and the media in the middle of taking care of the Ukrainian refugees, I was told to shut up. So much for a priest and a Levite who was legally busy to help their neighbors. But now let's look at the good side, if we can call it a good one. As the Ukrainian civilians started to flee out from their war zones, we became instantly good Samaritans. It is shameful to say, but yes, we helped them because they looked like us, white, Caucasians. They are all Christians. They are in despair, and we all started to compare what would happen if we would be in their situations. There was no space to refuse help or to remain helpless. How strange we are, humans. And as the parable evolves, yes, we saw them, we had compassion on them, and we went to them. When we saw miles of long lines approaching the 3 borders to Romania, remember it was end of February, it was freezing cold in this area, and volunteers immediately started to build tents, bringing blankets, hot soup and tea, food and everything else it was needed. The first few weeks, we focused on the borders to help them. And as it was expected, the first couple 100,000 refugees were people who owned a car. They were cautious enough to pack everything important in that car and taking their families, deciding to leave their endangered habitat just in time. Many of them who had enough cash, they just transited Romania towards Western Europe, thanking our volunteers for hot tea and food. As some of you know, I live in the second major city in the middle of Romania named Cluj, or Kolozsvár in Hungarian, and I serve the Beszterce congregation as a volunteer minister, which means that I drive up north to Beszterce every second Sunday. On this road, being a route to the Ukrainian border, it was shocking for me to see that all along my 3 hours drive, almost every second car had Ukrainian license plate. At the wheel was a woman, inside mainly children or elderly people in the car. The head of the family remained home to fight the intruders. Many of these drivers were totally confused and disoriented. They knew they must get to Western Europe to save their family, but many of them never drove longer than 5 miles a day before. These women are still the bravest example for us. And yes, we tried to help them with directions, offering them resting days at our relative homes across Europe, fixing their cars and making sure that they remain safe. Kind of bounding up their wounds as the Samaritan did, but this time these people were not bleeding literally, they just needed help. But another wave of refugees were the ones who got stuck in the bombed regions of the main cities, Kiev, Kharkiv, Mariupol, and spent horrifying weeks in those bunkers. And when the opportunity for a humanitarian corridor opened, they had only 5 minutes to pack all their life in a plastic shopping bag, and with the clothes on them, they left the bunker praying that they will get out alive from Ukraine. There were no routes or specific destinations, just out from the country in every single way possible. This was the point when we were not needed anymore at the borders, but started to organize ourselves as a community to host these people in our cities. The train station in Kolozsvár became a large shelter and refugee transit point, where volunteers welcomed these families, offered them hot food, and immediately started to find for them a place to live. There is no time in this service to tell you long stories, what we experienced during the last few months. But imagine a family of 5 who were on roads for 27 days. The oldest man was born in 1937. The youngest boy was 16. One person from this family, as we learned later, was diagnosed with sclerosis multiplex. He could barely walk. The old person asked me, right after they came down from the train, if they will need to sleep at the train station. And I, strong as I am usual, I broke up in tears, telling them not to worry, we have a house for them, and they arrived to a good place. Here is a moment for us to reflect a little bit on this situation. What would you or I pack in a plastic bag in 5 minutes from all our life? Where would you go at age of 85 if your city is bombed? Or how would you travel to unknown and uncertain destinations with a terminal illness and no medications left? This is how bad the situation is. And set him on his own beast and brought him to an inn and took care of him. He took out 2 pence and gave them to the host and said unto him, take care of him, and whatsoever you spend on him, when I come again, I will repay it. This is where we are in the story, in our case. In our Unitarian school building, which has a dormitory and a cafeteria, we share space with 3 families from Odessa. We also rent an apartment for 2 other families in the city. In my own apartment, I have 12 refugees living now. I was able to do this because with the pandemic, I moved out to a small village and I commute every day, so I don't use my apartment. We try to live a normal life as possible. We try to celebrate their birthdays. We try to find work for the adults, and mainly not for gaining money, but rather to give them some distraction, not to stay helpless in a room or watch the horrifying news every single day. We even managed to start a Ukrainian language kindergarten in the building. Their children play with our children, and we all hope for better days. These people need to feel the love and compassion of their neighbors, and offering food and shelter was only a primary need. I have 2 more stories to share. One peaceful Sunday in Kolozsvár, I took out for coffee and cookies a family of 5, the 2 grandparents, the parents, and a 6-year-old daughter. They escaped from a bunker. They traveled long weeks on the road. And while we were chatting and enjoying coffee and the peaceful sun above us, suddenly an ambulance passed the city center with loud sirens, just as this would happen in Colombia or other cities in the world. At this certain moment, the little girl heard the sirens. She moved under the coffee table, started to cry, and refused to get out, even if the entire adult crowd tried to explain to her that this siren is to help people in need, and this is not a warning for a new bomb attack. Why a little girl must grow up with this wound? How long it will take until her soul will be healed after all this war ends? We helped this family to end up in Riga, Latvia, and the parents and this little girl are trying desperately to get to US to have a better future. Wonderful members of your congregation are still trying to find out legal ways to help them, and I just hope this will happen one day. The second story is much nicer. A little boy who we take care, he's 12 years old, we rent an apartment for his family. He told me one day that he's really missing his violin. And he's hopeful that whenever they return home, the violin will be in one piece. They don't have any news about their apartment. So with the help of my friends, we managed to get him a new violin. And since that, every single day, he is rehearsing. The joy and happiness on that kid's face is priceless. And this is not the end of story. Yesterday, he knocked at my office door, and with a big smile on his face, he handed me a big bowl of cookies and a letter to all teachers and children in school. He told me he made the cookies by himself, and he would like to thank for all the kindness he got from people in this community. You see, I love the parable of the Good Samaritan because the injured man never says thank you, nor the Samaritan is doing his work for expecting any gratitude. But this kid rewrote the story, and he gave us energy and hope to continue this work, even though it doesn't look like it will end very soon. May we all stay good Samaritans. This world needs us on many situations, and if we want to feel human, we must act as true neighbors. Today is Pentecost in the Christian tradition, the moment when the divine soul touches the heart of all people. May we feel this spirit and act accordingly. It was wonderful to be with you. Blessed be. Amen.
I invite you to stand as you're willing and able and join in our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One, located in your gray hymnal. I ask you, please, to wear your mask as you join in congregational singing.
I'd like to invite Carolyn West to come with our closing words.
Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, abled or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others.
Thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate it, Carolyn. In the words of Tamar's words up there, thank you. Thank you for being with us today, and for our guests, Ken, Rowena, Melissa, Alma, Tom, Anita. Please know we welcome you back anytime, because this truly is a welcoming place. For all of you, of all the places you could have been, and even on Zoom, thank you for being with us today. And as we extinguish these candles, please let the light that they shine stay in our hearts, and let the light serve as guidance as we continue our journey. Please know that after the benediction is sung, we will have another short video to serve as a reflection of this wonderful service. To all of you who contributed in so many different ways, again, it was an honor to serve as your service leader today. Anna?
I invite you to join in singing our congregational benediction.
May the blessings of truth be upon us. May the power of love direct us. And may the peace of this community sustain us till we meet again.
Please be seated as David shares our short video.